energía, porque apenas estamos comenzando, apenas está arrancando, apenas viene lo mejor. Entonces, antes de arrancar, quiero recordarles que esta siguiente charla va a ser en inglés, pero también, por si no lo sabían, tenemos aparatos de traducción simultánea que pueden conseguir en la parte de atrás. Ahí, gracias. En la parte, cuando caminen hacia atrás, en la parte derecha, hacia atrás, van a poder encontrar estos aparatos. Y pues nada. I'm going to start speaking in English now. Thank you, welcome. I hope everyone's having fun. I am really glad and really happy that our next guest is here in Mexico. This is his first time in an event and coming to Latin America, and we're really happy. Please welcome Dédouze.
This is working now. Hello, everyone. There's a lot of people. Thank you for coming to my presentation, and really thanks to the festival Pictoplasma and the team for welcoming me here. So I was asked to talk about my work in this conference. This is the kind of work that I do. As you can see, I work and I am an animator. Well, I don't really know what I am, but it's easier to say I'm an animator. I do a lot of things, and I don't really know how to define myself, but I am trying to achieve something, and this is where I am now. I make animations using 2D and 3D mixed in the same environment. It's all made with the software Blender 3D, so it's a free software. I will recommend you to install it. I'm not employed by Blender, and I'm not paid to say that, but I'm telling you, this software has changed a lot my career as a professional and also my art journey. So everything that you see here, I did all this in one software, each of these scenes. It means that the characters are hand-drawn in the software. I modeled the buildings, and I added the animations and some effects to add some lines, shakings, lights, shadow, and post-production effects, the glows, the loops, everything, even the little chromatic aberration around this, which makes the old 80s movie style. It's all made in the software Blender. So from start to finish, I open the software, I create everything. I just import the music. That's the only thing that I don't make in Blender. I record myself on a small synthesizer and a piano for the music. For most of my work, I do the music myself for my commissions. And then I have a scene for the composition. I put everything. It's still in the same file, in the same software. I press export, and this is it. And I send it to the client to internet, and I don't need anything else than this software to work. So what was the plan already? I forgot to launch my timer. Okay, we have. So I didn't even say my name. Okay, it's here, it's Dédouze. It was part one of the plan. Okay, so I did it in reverse, it's okay, I think. So why am I doing this? It started a few years ago. I noticed that the 3D animation world has evolved so much in the last few years. Like if you see a movie like 5 years ago, it has nothing to do with what we do now. But to the animation, it hasn't changed. It's both good and bad at the same time, but it means that it's an art that cannot get old. So I thought maybe I would try to get the best of the both worlds, the best of 2D and 3D. And I tried to achieve this for years. I never managed to do it. And one day I saw a presentation from the Blender team on YouTube. They said, we are going to integrate 2D animation in our 3D software now. And that's when I knew that it was time for me to learn Blender. So I started learning it on day one when they released their tool to create 2D animations like this. And what is the next slide? This is what I did before. I did some comics on YouTube and on Facebook. As you see, it's really old. This was my style in like 5 years ago when I started posting stuff on the internet. At that time, I didn't really know what to do, but I made little stories to make fun of my life, my failed relationships. It was very short relationships like this, and of course, it's a lot simplified. It didn't last 2 panels in real life, but something like that. And when I did that, I noticed that I like to tell stories, and I thought maybe I would try to make a great story one day, but I didn't know where to start. So at that time, I thought maybe I should learn just the drawing, and at the same time learn to write stories little by little. At least the drawing, I know where I am going because I have references. My biggest reference in animation, it's a Ghibli movie, of course. And it's not really my favorite movie of Ghibli, but it's the first that I saw. And this movie really resonated with me, and I still remember the emotion I had the first time I saw it. So this is a capture of my home, where I live. I didn't have time to make backgrounds for my slides, so I just scanned my whole apartment while I made prepared my cloth for the journey. So here, where is my pen? I wanted to talk to you about Porco Rosso. It's an important movie for me in my career because, as I told you, when I watch it now, like all 2D movies, it hasn't gotten old. That's the difference with 3D animation, because in 3D, you can create a good movie now with the tech you have, and one day someone redo your movie with a better tech, and suddenly the movie becomes better just because the tech has evolved. But in 2D, even when the technology evolves, you cannot enhance it. There are some people who try to convert some old animation to 60 FPS animation, and it even gets worse. It's like, so I'm not saying 3D is bad. I love 3D, but there is good and bad 3D animation. And the bad 3D animation is when you have a technology, like you have a software that can generate a tornado, for example, and you say, okay, my movie will be about tornadoes, and you do it, and 2 years later, a new version of the software comes, and suddenly your tornado becomes ugly because someone says, hey, I remade your movie, but with 10 times more polygons. But with a 2D animation, someone cannot say, hey, I remade Porco Rosso better, with more lines, like more lines on the faces of Porco Rosso. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make the drawing better. So, but I thought, maybe if you have 3D with a good art direction, with a strong art direction, and you don't only rely on technology, maybe you can make a movie that cannot get old. There's a lot of movies that do that now with strong art direction, like Spider-Verse or Arcane, things like that. And there are still parts of it that you can criticize, but in general, it looks so good that even if someday someone redoes it with more polygons, the art direction will be so strong, but it will stay the same. So my plan to start my journey to be able to hopefully make a movie someday was, I thought I had to go back to the beginning. Back to the beginning here, it's learn how to draw. So this is all rendered in real time. We are in the software Blender. This is my house. So we can play with this, and I'm using this for the background of my presentation. I just have to change the timeline loop because I didn't put it on the right position. Okay, we start at 3 and 50 seconds. We can launch the animation and back to full screen. So I went back to learn how to draw, and I started back to drawing on paper. So I did a lot of things in my sketchbook to try to find my style, because as I told you now, I think that for me, in my opinion, the art direction is the most important part. So, another story, but as you can see, it was really my very old style. The guitar is the reason why I stopped drawing at what time of my life, because I thought it would make me cool to start playing guitar, but life is still the same, so I went back to animation. What? Where are my? There is a problem with internet. I am really lucky. Okay, no, never mind. I have my sketchbook here, So I went back to my sketchbook and I started drawing characters because my ultimate goal is to write stories about people, and I started to learn how to make faces for every existing expression, and try to do it with a style that would work with all the genres that I like, because I like. This can be a very short advice on how I found my art style. I like science fiction, I like comedy, and I like drama, all of this. But I don't want to have to learn 3 styles of drawing, so I started to draw characters, and on each characters, I try to imagine them in all these genres of stories. So I thought, what if this person you see here is a soldier fighting against aliens? And what if that same person is also in a teenage drama, but also in a more poetic adult story? So I adjusted my lines. I spent months, maybe a year, to adjusting my life till I found a shape that I thought could work for all these styles. I don't say that this is the only way. Maybe you will want to have different styles for all the genres you like, but that's what I did. So then I made some sketches of science fiction scenes, and I went back to my characters and tried to imagine what if these people were flying in these imaginary planes and things like that. I have a lot of word sketches also, just to try some colors. And everything that I do now in 3D, it starts with a sketch on paper. I'm sad, but I lost a lot of sketches. But this is, for example, a scene that I remade in 3D entirely. So first I try to get a composition on paper to imagine how an artist will do it if that artist didn't have a fancy computer, not a 3D software. So I think this influences a lot my final work, because it's always based on something that could have been done without the computer. Of course, once it's done in Blender with the 3D animation and fancy effects, your eyes are focused on all these elements. But if you remove all this is what stays. And maybe not all people like it, but I still like it also. So I try to make my animation still good to my eyes, even when you press stop and you remove all the effects. and even the colors and the post-production. So we can go back to my scenes. I can show you a quick tour of the scenes you saw just before. Which one will we look at first? You can have a tour of my apartment also, but I've put too many effects on this. Okay, it's a mess. This is my future project. You have a glimpse of a future project I'm preparing, but I will talk about that later. But we can make a tour of my work. So my first step was to try to master the software, just the drawing tool. So I made some projects. But by the way, the projects you see that I post on the internet are not always in the order or where I started them. I always work on like 5 or 10 artworks at the same time. And it doesn't mean I'm working on all the 10 projects every day. But everything that I do now, it started a long time ago, and it's finished in random order. So maybe some things can seem very recent to you or very old. But first, where is it? Nope. So first, I tried to focus on the drawing tool. So I made characters with a lot of elements on their bodies. And I didn't bother a lot on animation and backgrounds. Was there? I'm sorry, I thought when I came to Guadalajara that I will have time to order all my things. I said I will do all that in Guadalajara, and I arrived. Every 5 meters where I walk, there is something interesting to see. I lost my time in the street looking at the tiles on the floor and the windows. Every shape is really interesting. And after that, 2 days passed. Yesterday I was drinking tequila with some Mexicans in a bar. It was really good. And then I saw, I had to sort my files. So this is one example of a scene where I worked mainly. I try to develop the drawing technique. So the character is hand-drawn. Wait just a second for the scene to load. So, okay. The character is all hand-drawn, but it's on multiple canvases. So canvas is it's like as if you have a piece of paper floating in space. I can reveal you the canvas here. Here it is. And this is a semi-complex but character because every part has a different canvas because it's in a different angle. And as long as the camera is in the right position, you don't really know where are the volumes. It's just enough volumes to fake 3D, but also to keep the 2D style. And the rest, this little robot is all in 3D. And I've put drawing on top of the robot. These lines are hand-drawn. So where are these lines? Let me grab the lines. So you can also have canvases that are wrapped on a 3D object. So my approach is to always use hand-drawn techniques for characters and for organic stuff like these plants. The leaf is up there, the birds, the person, and everything that is more like a solid object. I do it in 3D. I think it's the best technique I found because the 3D objects are not likely to be deformed, but the 2D will be deformed more during the animation. So in the end, we have this scene. So this is more like a painting, but in 3D. I have after that, I try to develop another technique with more animation. So once the character starts to move a lot, I don't put this much layers and the canvases on one person. For this animation, I think, thank you so much. It is me dancing during the quarantine. I had this idea during quarantine. So it started with me in my apartment, singing.
The same day, the same day, the weekend comes, in our homes, there's nothing much to do. These days are all the same to me. These days are all the same to me. Those scrappy days are yours and mine. Those scrappy days are yours and mine. Sunday, Monday, the same day. Tuesday, Wednesday.
So here the camera is on the side. Let me show you where is the camera. Here on the right, you see that I actually made two versions of my home. There is one that is seen from this side, and another one seen from the other side, this one. So I do this because just for the sake of art direction, I wanted this shot to look like this. And if I use the same shot for the opposite side, everything would look really deformed, really weird. So instead of using the same place, I redraw the same thing, but from the other side. So this is the other side. So on top, you see the active camera. There is a camera here. There is another one there. So no, it's not. There's another camera here. And this, all in Blender, I can say I switched to a camera here. This is the marker. It is a marker to say we go to this camera at this time, and then we go to this other camera. So in this scene, there is just two cameras. The animation plays, and depending on the camera position, I show the right drawings. I'm really proud of this rotation scene. There are 3 drawings to do this. The person drawn from this side, and then a middle version, and then the final one. I was super lazy, so I changed the camera just very soon here. And there is another. Once I learned how to do all these techniques, I try to start to do something a little bolder. So I have some. This is one of the most animation which I am most proud. It was made for the campaign of Crocs. So everything, it is supposed to be seen on a phone on a vertical format. So you see that the hands are not finished. This is where the phone screen ends, but I made a version where you see everything. So the hands are hand-drawn, they are flat, but during the whole animation, the camera will change position. So I have other drawings of the hands to optimize to make them always face the camera. I could have used only one object because in Blender, you can also animate the whole canvas. So it means you can draw inside the canvas, make a whole animation in this, and then once your drawing is finished, you can move the canvas and you can make it follow the camera. But in my case, the animation has not a lot of frame rate, so I didn't need to make a smooth transition. So I made a lot of drawings, like 5 or 6 different drawings. Some of them are moving, and some of them are just waiting for the right time to be activated. So here, as you can see, everything you see is in real time. The final work looks like the work when you are working. It's really good for motivation, because when you are drawing, you will see how it will look in the end. So let's play the animation. A bit slow because I'm playing it in real time. I should have launched the video version, but it's okay. And then you see me placing the objects on the shoe, and then we go here. Maybe you have a version with a better version for you. Okay, this is a full screen version. So here is a point of view with this is the phone version with the final export, with the glow effects and the post effects. All the effects are done on Blender. You see this little glows around the bright objects. It's just one node in Blender. We work in nodes in the compositor. And all the lights, I use a lot of fake lights. I add additional lights because I started to do this as a sketch. I lost the sketch, but it is really close to what you see here. I think I have the version of a sketch just in digital with colors. So when I sketch, I don't really know how the light will look like exactly in the end. So sometimes I do things that are impossible physically. But when I start this is one of the sketches I made. The squawk is already in 3D. But I didn't have a sense of the real position of the shadows when I did this. So, but I thought it looked nice. So what I did in the final animation, I added extra lights that are not really necessary and that don't exist in real life. So this is the amount of lights I have. All these little lines. It's all these little lights, they all add just a little thing, like this line here, this pink line is controlled by just this light. And so people always ask me, what is the secret of your shaders and everything? It's not only the shaders, but the position of the objects and the positions of the lights. It's all, oh, the sound is better now. Oh, I was screaming all the time, sorry. So all these lights contribute to the look. I switch to the, when I do that, I switch to the draft, where I don't know where it is, and then I place the lights to make it look as close as possible to the draft. So you can see the animation with the lights here. There are a few lights that are moving just so that they can put the shadows at the right place at the right moment. And so this is the kind of thing you can do in Blender. And of course, you can do things in different styles. There's a lot of styles in Blender, but you can make a movie that looks realistic. But my thing is to do not realistic renders. But you can, as you saw with the scan of my house before, you can mix both. You can make a realistic scene and put drawn characters inside of it. I can make a quick drawing for you now, just to show you how you start a project on Blender, or drawing project. So, I hope this will work. This is a first generation iPad. Once I started Blender, I stopped using Procreate and everything else, so I didn't use the iPad anymore. But my tablet was too big for the plane, so I hope this will work. I use AstroPad Studio. It allows you to emulate a screen tablet on your iPad. So, hey, connect. Yes, we are set. Please work, please work. Okay, it works. Let's start a new project in Blender. So you have presets, you start a project, you start 2D animation, and then you can, it looks like a 2D software in the beginning. You think that it's a software like Photoshop, but you're actually in a 3D space. So the camera is just placed at a convenient position to make you see it from the front. So what am I going to draw? I made a few sketches. I'm going to try to reproduce one of my sketches. So let's do it directly with the pen. We have the layers at the bottom. Pen. Okay. I'm going to deactivate this record button. It's a button that is used when you animate. I prefer to turn it off first. So you can start drawing directly from this angle. The iPad is not super precise. I prefer the point eraser. Okay. So you have your character. Why did I do hair like this? Sorry, a lot of Ctrl Z. I will try to not draw circles today, or we can spend hours with Ctrl Z. So you have your character. I'm gonna make this person sit at a cafe or at a bar maybe, and just waiting for someone at a cafe. So this is the first part of the character, and I go back to the 3D space, and I could create another object with just add another grease pencil object and start to draw in here, but I am super lazy, so I will just duplicate this character and put it on the front. So here we have the desk here. I think the desk of the cafe will be here. I go back to front, I erase everything, go back to drawing mode, and I can draw the desk of the cafe. Maybe we will add a smoothie here with some lemon. Let's add even more. Well, before I add another object, maybe I was erasing the other wrong object. So this is something that happens in 3D. When you draw in 2D, sometimes you're erasing the wrong layer, but in 3D there is an additional constraint. It's the space. So you can be erasing the wrong drawing at the wrong space. So I just want to adjust the glass a little. It's not important. I'm going to add some colors. So I'll go in over all layers. Let's call feed. Let's deactivate use lights here. This option allows you to make the object interact with the 3D lights, but in my case, I don't need realistic lights. So what color will I put? Oh, blue. That's unexpected. I even put the wrong. I was in the wrong place. Yes. Let's draw a blue jacket. There are many ways to paint in Blender. Really, I just do the lazy version because for the sake of the duration of this presentation. Let's add another color. No, I don't need the stroke, just the fill color, and maybe pink, bright, purple skin. Purple, yes. So you have your character, maybe some red hair. You know what? I'm just going to duplicate this color. So on Blender, the palettes are called material because it's based on the vocabulary of 3D. It's like textures. So you have to pick your textures first, and then you apply them on the 3D objects, and it's the same in, oops, I need to duplicate it. It's the same when you do in 2D. You prepare your textures first, and then you place it on your character. So it is too similar to the rest. Let's change it a little bit. Anyway, so now you have your character, and I have the bar in front. I will put just another layer for the feet, because later I will put some camera motion on it, and I want the feet to make a little parallax. Once again, I just erase everything. I use the same drawing, I just erase the content. and I save a lot of time like that. So the feet will be here. Like this. It's not correct at all. It's, there's people who made anatomy classes here that are laughing. Huh. It's not correct. Sorry. It's not possible. It's too small. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Let's suppose it looks like this, and let's draw the feet. So we have our person. Now let's add an animated object. Maybe just between the smoothie and this person, there will be a coffee. So once again, I just duplicate the object. I erase the content, and let's draw first the part that is not moving from the cafe. It's just the cup. No. Why is it super? I think I put it behind. Okay, it's okay. That's a strange cup. Okay, and I will add another layer just for the smoke. So very simple smoke in 2D. Now I am in animation part. I'm going to activate the record button. It makes you create keyframes automatically when you move to the right on the timeline and you start to draw. So here, let's focus on this. Let's hide the feet because some people are taking photos. It's better to not show this. I'm going to make a draft. I have a technique for this kind of animation. First, I make a draft to see the global shape of the element I'm going to draw. Maybe not like this. Maybe it will look more like this. So this will be the shape of the smoke. Really quick version. So I'm going to try to draw my smoke animation on top of this. It starts like this. Okay, I'm going to start with exactly the draft. Then I go like 4 frames to the right. Let's activate the onion skins. Okay, it's activated. It's activated for the layer also. I'm going to deactivate it for the others. I don't need it. Now let's draw something in between. Let's move this to the right. Draw another. What is it? What did I do? I don't remember where it starts. It starts here and go here. I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to cheat. It will be easier if I reverse it. It's really bad animation. It's animation made in 30 seconds. So, okay, I have to just another version here. Just before we arrive on top, this one arrives here, this one arrives here, and there's a bit of smoke. You know what? Let's do this very quickly. It's a 20 frames loop. Maybe I should do it. I'm going to add a loop, like maybe on 60 frames. So if your animation is too fast, you can just stretch it. If it's an object, you can just stretch it like this and see. It's super bad. Super bad. My career is lost. My career is over. You haven't seen anything. But, okay. It's a quick animation. The frames, the ending frames are really bad. Okay. Oh.
5 minutes till Q&A.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. We have 5 minutes before Q&A. I'm going to show you a few tricks just before that. So we have tools in Blender. If you messed on something like the shape, the head is really too high. I could move it like this, but it will break everything. So I will just activate the proportional editing mode. So with this editing, I can choose how much the rest will be affected. So I want to keep the shoulders, but just move the head. This tool works on every object in Blender, on 3D object and 2D Blender. 2D objects now, the head is at a better position. And you know what? You can also use this tool to animate. Like here, I press the record button. I move on the timeline. I'm going to rotate slightly the head of this character. You see the onion skin starting to appear. Another motion. Then I duplicate this here. And I have a quick animation. Let's add a loop on this character. 30 seconds. 30 seconds loops. No. So the character is listening to music. And suppose you made an error with the smoke, which is the case for real. I'd like to make this smoke a little bigger, or maybe it's not oriented in the good way, because maybe there is a wind that I forgot in the scene. So we're going to do the same thing as before. I'm gonna grab these lines. Where am I? Okay, I'm on the correct size. I have to deactivate the loop because it changes the position of what I am seeing. So same as before, I can do the proportional editing for the smoke. But if I select all the frames and I activate multi-frame editing, you will see what is happening. I'm deforming the whole animation. So if I want the smoke to end further here, I just stretch the whole thing. Then I in edit mode, I deactivate the multi-frame, reactivate the timeline. So here I have a very different smoke. I just deformed the over before. And on top of that, okay, I didn't have time to animate everything, so I'm going to use my cheat tool, the noise effect. It's just there are many effects in Blender. We call this modifier. And this one is called the noise. So you just put it on top of your drawing, and it makes it a little bit more alive. It is crazy because it works in real time. So here, I'm just going to add like a little object. Thank you. Thank you so much. So this is it. What am I drawing? I don't see what I'm drawing. Okay. Oh, I was trying to draw with the pen on my screen. Okay. Just add a little butterfly here, little flowers. It's animated in real time. So thank you so much for watching the presentation. If you have a few questions, it's this time now.
Chicos, a iniciar lo que son las preguntas y respuestas y él va a estar como eligiendo a las personas, ¿ok?
You can choose whoever you want. And
Okay, I didn't see who, but This is the person I saw first. I don't know if... yeah, yes, you? Okay. Okay. There was someone here and someone there. Okay. Okay.
Hello. So, how hardware intensive is working Blender like this? Because there's like Blender using like hyper realistic like renders, and those are like super heavy and taxing on like your GPU and whatnot. But this kind of like mixture between.
Sorry, I don't hear correctly.
Yeah. So, is this kind of like animation, 3D animation, too intensive on like hardware and like graphics card, or is it like more, like not as intensive as more realistic 3D renders?
You still need a powerful GPU for this?
Yeah, because you use like a bunch of lights in one of those scenes you showed us.
Okay, I don't hear correctly, but I think you're asking the tech, the specifications you need.
Yeah, if we need like a lot of like tech in order to like do this kind of stuff.
It's always better to have a powerful computer, a good GPU. It's because the GPU allows you to play this kind of thing in real time while we rotate. I started with an old MacBook with 16 gigabytes of RAM and GeForce G60, very old. It still works actually. The thing is, it's a free software, so you can test it with the computer you have now, and you will see. Okay. There are demo files on the Blender website. You go to blender.org and you search demo files, and there is some demos of Grease Pencil, so you can start to play it and rotate around to see. My computers have a GeForce RTX 2060. This one, you use it.
Oh, so it's kind of like compared to like more realistic stuff.
Yeah,
it's more like less heavy on the hardware than more realistic renders.
But for more realistic renders, it also works. There's the same configuration.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
There was one person there, and then here, you, with the shirt, blue shirt. There was one guy here, and then you.
Hi.
And okay, you. Okay.
First of all, I'm a huge fan. Like, literally talking to you is like a dream come true right now. So I'm like pretty nervous, but fun stuff aside. Do you know? I know everything you've done is through like trial and error, but do you have any recommendation in resources? And do you really need a dedicated GPU to run Blender, or can you run it with integrated graphics?
Yes, that's so. As I told the guy, you need a computer that are for gamers, because it's a lot of 3D. Even if it looks 2D. So minimum for me is like GeForce RTX 2060 is what I use now. But I managed to do something with older GeForce for years. It's just because my scenes are becoming more and more complex. And also like I have some habits. I like to play my animations while I draw. It's something that is not really necessary. And for the resources, I've made a video on YouTube. Or you can go to blender.org/greasepencil. You have a lot of resources there that are selected by the official Blender team. So did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay. So there is one person here, and
hello, you.
This guy. You. Let me just put an interesting screen here. This puppet is a paper puppet. It is filmed on a real screen. The screen you see behind, it's not a VFX. It's really my screen that I filmed, and I put my puppet in front. The only thing that is not real here is the lamp and the eyes and the mouth. Okay, sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
First, thank you for coming to Guadalajara. It's really an honor to have you here. And sorry for my English, it's not the best. But my question is about how you deal with the planes in the composition during the process of creating the whole piece in Blender. you don't get like confused a little bit with the directions of the planes, or how you deal with that? Sorry.
Okay, so first when I started using Blender, I saw so many possibilities in it that I used. Whoa. Okay. The end of the word. This is it. You are the last person I saw. So first you are tempted to use every features existing, but now I'm starting to simplify my scenes. I use a lot of very flat planes, and all the planes are facing the camera. So for most objects, plants and persons, if the person is not really important, if I know that the camera is not going to move around that person, I just make one plane. But if I see if the person has an arm going to the front, and we are going to see that, I add a lot of elements for this, for the planes. And also, in Blender, you can hide the elements you're not working on. There is a mode that is called local mode. You just select the objects you need for the moment, and you press the local shortcut. It's slash on the numeric pad. You can search the shortcut on internet. If you don't have a numeric keyboard, you can customize it. So, for example, you have a big scene, but you're working just on this part. You select everything you need. You press local space, I don't know, and everything else disappears, and it's less confusing. Also, this is for a tip for people who don't have a powerful GPU. You can just hide the things you are not working on. No problem. There was one guy, but did you change your shirt? Yes, it's you. No? Yes, it was you. Yes, gray. Gray sweat.
Try not to pass the speakers. Because if you pass it.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Do you follow other Blender YouTube artists? And are we seeing Guadalajara in pink, blue, and yellow, and some future, like your art or based in Guadalajara? You know. And do you follow other artists like Erindale or Blender Guru or some other artists that are doing some cool things in Blender? Are you following?
So the first question about Guadalajara, I didn't get it. You ask if I know some artists
If
here?
if you will make like an art of Guadalajara in your style.
If I'm going to make another events in Guadalajara?
Yeah.
Well, actually, all the events I do now, I don't plan them. It's people who contact me, and if I have some time to do it, I always try to say yes to everything when I have time. It is hard because I am invited a lot of time to events, and people say, hey, please come to us, talk about your work. So I spend a lot of time talking about my work, but not doing the work, actually. So it's, so it's hard when I say, I really like to come, but I have nothing new to show to you. So. And if I can recommend you some artists, I made a video on YouTube. You should search on my YouTube channel. It's Dédouze. There's not a lot of videos there, and you see one long video of 20 minutes. And in the end, I put my recommendations of people you should follow that have used the same tool as me. There is one guy, what is called the Gaku Tada. He's another style. He makes more painterly animations. It looks like watercolor, so it's really the same technique as this, but the final render looks like watercolor, so it can inspire you for all different styles if you want. But check my video on YouTube. It's called, the channel is Dédouze. I don't, there were so many people before and I don't remember. You in white, I think it was you. Or was you with the white?
Thank you. First of all, I want to say that I really love your work, and I've been following for a long time now. Second of all, I want to ask you a little bit more about your past, and how did you know that you wanted to get into 3D and 2D and make this all new art that we've never seen before?
Okay, so I am a self-taught animator and illustrator, so I didn't get a chance to learn things in school. But what I tell to people is always, I think I managed to do this because I was always curious. before Blender was out, I used every possible software that I could find. I used Photoshop, Illustrator, Adobe Animator. It was called Flash by the time when I tested it. And I tested 3D Studio Max, a little bit of Maya, a little bit of Cinema 4D. And I think I am obsessed with when I see something that looks nice, I need to know how it's done. So I always, even for stuff that I don't post, I learn stuff about programming softwares that I will never use that in my life, I think, but I'm obsessed to see how these software are done, and it makes me nervous not to know some stuff. So even if something doesn't seem to help you now, it can help you in a future project. I always tell people to try to at least know the information of something, even if you're not going to learn it in detail. So that's all my life I've been looking at things, documentaries on art, on tech stuff. So I was a web developer before I did all this, and my drawings, I did them at night after my work. I'm telling that to motivate people who are depressed because maybe they didn't get the school they want, or they make a job that is not in art world, and they say, oh, it's sad because I'm an artist, but I'm not full-time in art. In my experience is that I was not a full-time artist all the time, and it was not a problem because it paid the rent, and it made me even more happy when the weekend arrived to start drawing. I had a lot of inspiration during the week, say, oh, I'm going to draw this and this and this and this. And when the weekend arrived, I drew super fast. Like sometimes I draw even faster than now that I'm full-time in the industry. So every path is really possible. I cannot tell you this is the right path to. You can arrive there in many ways.
Thank you.
The guy with the white black shirt, yeah. Yeah, it's you. It's you. Okay, there is another. Wow, I didn't see all the hands. Okay.
Hi. Oh, there we go. Okay, hi. So, tiny little question. On one of your first projects that you were showing on with the piano and the little book, you did the 3D scan of your room, right?
I did. It's a 3D scan.
Yeah. What software, sorry, not what software, what product or what scanner did you actually use? Was it with mobile, or did you actually use one really cool 3D?
It's on mobile. I use the app called Polycam. Polycam. There is a free version and the paid version if you want to have more features. But it is the app that I use, and it's super fast.
And one last, wait, one more thing real quick, tiny thing.
So many, it's really
Did you do any mesh optimization on the 3D scans?
Do I?
Did you do any mesh optimization on the 3D scans?
Did I remesh?
Yeah. Or like, did you lower the poly count, or did you just render the way it currently is?
No, depending on some objects, not on this project, but on the other projects, I recreated the object. For another project, I recreated the mesh, and I projected the texture from the scan to the other object. You can do that in Blender. It's called the baking mode. You can bake and put the result on another mesh to have something cleaner. So you with the pink sweater, one person. Do you have time for one last question, or? Okay.
We ran out of time.
We ran out of time.
But thank you so much, Luis.
Thank you so much. Can I take a video? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you, Pixelatl. Oh, I can't believe it. I'm still alive.
Muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Y recuerden, tenemos que desalojar la sala. No se preocupen. También, no vengan aquí al frente, por favor, en esta ocasión tenemos que hacer el setup y la logística para la siguiente charla, pero no se preocupen, va a estar disponible para ustedes por acá. No se va a escapar, aquí va a estar toda la semana.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.